And the more information that keeps coming out, it just makes any association with him or his empire bad for other businesses.
When you're in a kind of industry like rap, hip hop, music industry in general, the secrets around, working for a label.
The story of Sean Diddy Combs, once a symbol of success and extravagance, has taken a dramatic and shocking turn, pulling the curtain back on allegations that have rocked not only his empire but the entire entertainment industry. From Grammy-winning hits to accusations that could lead to life behind bars, this tale has everything: power, betrayal, and a legal battle of epic proportions. But how did one of the most celebrated figures in music find himself at the center of a federal investigation? Let's dive into the scandal that has everyone talking. Imagine being at the pinnacle of fame, with a billion-dollar empire spanning music, fashion, and media. That's where Diddy was until November 2023, when his ex-girlfriend, singer Cassie Ventura, dropped a bombshell lawsuit that sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. The lawsuit accused Diddy of a decade-long pattern of control, physical harm, and deeply disturbing behavior. Cassie, who started dating him at just 19, described herself as trapped in a toxic relationship where she was allegedly manipulated, degraded, and subjected to acts that many can't even fathom. The details were graphic, painting a picture of a man who used his wealth and influence to dominate and exploit those around him.
That video will follow him for the rest of his life. People will always remember that video.
Cassie's decision to come forward was timed with the final days of New York's Adult Survivors Act, a law that temporarily allowed individuals to file claims against alleged wrongdoers, even if the statute of limitations had long passed. And what a claim it was. She alleged that Diddy controlled every aspect of her life, from her career to her personal medical records, and subjected her to constant fear. The accusations included instances of physical harm, forced encounters with third parties, and psychological intimidation. Cassie even alleged that he had once threatened a fellow musician, claiming to have destroyed the artist's car as a warning. The lawsuit sent the media into a frenzy, with everyone speculating about what this could mean for Diddy's legacy. But what really caught the public's attention was how quickly the lawsuit was settled just one day after it was filed. Both Cassie and Diddy issued vague statements about resolving the matter amicably, but the speed of the settlement raised eyebrows. Critics argued that the settlement wasn't about clearing his name, but about silencing Cassie before more details could come out. Though the terms of the agreement remained confidential, it was clear that this wasn't the end of the story. In fact, it was just the beginning.
It sounds like a very toxic work environment. What is your take on that?
Toxic, but this is illegal behavior. You cannot put hands, this is battery, it's criminal battery.
Cassie's lawsuit opened the floodgates. Within weeks, more women came forward with their own allegations against Diddy, each claim more shocking than the last. These accusations spanned decades, from the early 1990s to the 2010s, painting a picture of a man who allegedly used his position of power to exploit and intimidate. One woman, identified anonymously as Jane Doe, claimed that she had been coerced into participating in acts she never consented to while she was still a minor. Another woman accused Diddy of filming her without her knowledge, then showing these recordings to others. Each new allegation added another layer to the growing pile of lawsuits and public scrutiny. And while Diddy's team continued to deny all wrongdoing, the sheer number of allegations made it impossible to ignore.
Grand jury that's impaneled right now, and that those people that did not talk then, they will be compelled to talk in a grand jury.
Amid these accusations, Cassie's lawsuit stood out for its deeply personal nature. This wasn't just about a celebrity scandal. It was about a young woman who had spent her formative years under the control of one of the most powerful men in the industry. Cassie described a relationship where she constantly walked on eggshells, afraid of triggering Diddy's temper. The lawsuit detailed instances where she was physically harmed, including a particularly horrifying moment in 2016 when Diddy allegedly chased her down a hotel hallway, threw her to the ground, and kicked her. Surveillance footage of this incident, which surfaced months later, appeared to back her claims, further damaging Diddy's already crumbling reputation.
Don't think he don't know. You pay those lawyers to know. Those lawyers know what he's gonna beat, and those lawyers know what he ain't gonna beat.
But let's not forget who we're talking about here. Diddy isn't just any celebrity, he's a mogul, someone who helped shape the sound of modern hip-hop and built an empire that influenced everything from fashion to television. For years, he was untouchable, a larger-than-life figure who seemed immune to the controversies that occasionally swirled around him. Whether it was his high-profile relationships, his lavish parties, or his business ventures, Diddy always seemed to come out on top. But now that image has been shattered, replaced by a man who stands accused of some of the most serious allegations imaginable.
New at 5, the legal troubles continue for Sean Diddy Combs tonight after a judge ordered the music mogul to pay $100 million to a Michigan man who says that he was assaulted by Combs in '97.
According to court documents, Derek Cardello Smith says Combs and then assaulted him during an after party at a Holiday Inn in Detroit. But Combs never responded to the lawsuit.
As the lawsuits piled up, so did the legal troubles. By early 2024, federal authorities were involved, with the Department of Homeland Security reportedly raiding properties linked to Diddy as part of a broader investigation. These raids marked a turning point, signaling that this wasn't just about civil lawsuits anymore, it was about potential criminal charges. The investigation unearthed what prosecutors described as a pattern of misconduct that spanned years, involving multiple associates and employees. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Diddy. It was about an alleged network of enablers who helped him maintain control and silence those who might speak out.
Everything that you're looking at, they're all tied in together. Every part, as crazy as this seems, as outrageous as it seems, it all ties in, every bit of it.
And speak out they did. The allegations against Diddy weren't limited to his relationship with Cassie. Women from different walks of life came forward, each with their own harrowing stories. Some claimed they were coerced into uncomfortable situations during lavish days-long parties. Others described being subjected to emotional manipulation and threats. One particularly chilling account involved a woman who claimed she was forced into a situation she couldn't escape after being flown across the country. The common thread in all these stories was Diddy's alleged use of his wealth and power to control those around him.
This is in the matter of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, MDOC number 267009 versus Sean Combs, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, also known as Sean P. Diddy, also known as Diddy, Bad Boy Records label owner.
Of course, Diddy's legal team was quick to push back. Led by the seasoned attorney Mark Agnifilo, the defense framed these allegations as a coordinated effort to tarnish Diddy's reputation and cash in on his wealth. Agnifilo, who has a history of handling high-profile cases, didn't mince words. He described Cassie's lawsuit as opportunistic and accused her of attempting to extort Diddy before filing her claims. According to Agnifilo, the allegations were exaggerated or outright fabricated, designed to destroy a man who had built his career from the ground up. But for all the bluster, the defense faced an uphill battle. The sheer volume of allegations, combined with the growing public outrage, made it difficult to sway public opinion. And then there was the video, the surveillance footage from 2016 that appeared to show Diddy physically attacking Cassie in a hotel hallway. That video was a game changer, providing what many saw as concrete evidence to back up Cassie's claims. Diddy's subsequent apology, in which he admitted his behavior in the video was inexcusable, did little to help his case. If anything, it raised more questions about what else he might be hiding.
Part here. And so what the plaintiff in this case did was filed for what we call a temporary restraining order, which would have prevented Diddy, or would prevent him from selling that Los Angeles home. And so we know, or at least we believe, that that TRO was granted to enjoin or stop him from selling that home.
As the case unfolded, the media couldn't get enough. Every new allegation, every court appearance, every leaked piece of evidence became headline news. Social media was ablaze with debates about Diddy's legacy, with some defending him as a victim of a smear campaign and others condemning him as a symbol of unchecked power. The entertainment industry, for its part, seemed to distance itself from the embattled mogul. Projects were canceled, partnerships dissolved, and former collaborators remained conspicuously silent. Even Diddy's long-standing relationship with his own media company, Revolt, was put on hold as the allegations mounted.
I had clients describe NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
Behind the scenes, Diddy's legal team was scrambling to keep up. The defense strategy was twofold: discredit the accusers and poke holes in the government's case. Agnifilo argued that many of the allegations were based on hearsay or lacked concrete evidence. He also questioned the motivations of the accusers, suggesting that they were driven by financial gain, rather than a desire for justice. But these arguments faced a major obstacle: the growing list of witnesses willing to testify against Diddy. From former employees to industry insiders, it seemed like everyone had a story to tell, and not many of them were flattering.
If the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
Meanwhile, Cassie remained a central figure in the case. Her decision to file the lawsuit was seen by many as an act of courage, a way to reclaim her narrative after years of silence. But it also came with risks. Diddy's legal team was relentless in their efforts to undermine her credibility, digging into her past and questioning her motives. They pointed to the settlement as proof that her claims were more about money than justice, though Cassie's supporters argued that the settlement was a way for her to move on without being dragged through a prolonged legal battle. As all of this played out, the stakes couldn't have been higher. For Diddy, The outcome of this case will determine not just his freedom, but his entire legacy. For his accusers, it's about holding a powerful man accountable for his actions. And for the entertainment industry, it's a moment of reckoning, a chance to confront the darker side of fame and power. One thing is certain, this story is far from over. With a trial date looming and more revelations likely to come, the world will be watching as one of music's biggest stars fights for his future.
And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact. So they say power can be intoxicating, but what happens when it crosses the line? As Sean Diddy Combs faces what some are calling the trial of the century, the layers of this case are peeling back to reveal a world of privilege, secrecy, and shocking allegations. The courtroom is no longer just a place for legal battles, it's becoming a theater where Diddy's empire, reputation, and legacy hang in the balance. And as we dive deeper into this unfolding saga, one thing is clear, the stakes have never been higher.
The evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named.
If you think this is just another celebrity scandal, think again. This case is shaping up to be a massive legal showdown, and all eyes are on Diddy's legal team as they attempt to dismantle the government's case piece by piece. Leading the charge is Mark Agnifilo, a high-profile attorney known for his sharp strategies and ability to spin even the most complicated cases in his client's favor. Agnifilo has been described as a master of courtroom theatrics, someone who thrives on the drama and pressure of high-stakes trials. And with Diddy's billion-dollar empire on the line, he's going all in.
There are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see.
From the beginning, Agnifilo has made it clear that he's not just defending Diddy's innocence, he's attacking the very foundation of the charges against him. In his own words, this case isn't about justice. It's about tearing down a successful man and exploiting his fame. These accusations are nothing more than a coordinated attempt to ruin my client's reputation and legacy, Agnifilo declared during a court hearing. His strategy hinges on painting Diddy as a victim of opportunistic individuals looking for a payday, rather than a perpetrator of the crimes he's accused of. But let's not forget, this isn't just a battle of public perception. The legal stakes are enormous. Among the most serious charges Diddy faces are those brought under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, better known as RICO. For those unfamiliar, RICO isn't your average legal tool, it's a heavy-duty law, often used to dismantle organized crime syndicates. Prosecutors are alleging that Diddy orchestrated a network that enabled his misconduct, using his businesses, staff, and immense wealth to maintain control and silence those who posed a threat. Essentially, they're painting him as the mastermind of a sprawling operation designed to protect his interests at any cost.
Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in.
And it doesn't stop there. The government is also accusing Diddy of using private jets, luxury properties, and celebrity-studded events as tools to lure and manipulate individuals. From lavish gatherings that allegedly masked darker intentions to claims that his staff helped facilitate questionable activities, the prosecution is building a narrative that Diddy's empire was built not just on ambition, but on exploitation. Photos, text messages, and even private flight logs are reportedly being submitted as evidence, adding layers of complexity to a case that's already bursting at the seams with twists and turns.
This has to be a 100% culture shock. I can't imagine living a lifestyle of the incredibly rich and famous and then going into this very dark, impersonal, cold, austere facility.
But here's where things get really interesting. Agnifilo isn't shying away from these accusations. Instead, he's taking a bold approach, arguing that these so-called networks were nothing more than routine operations for a man of Diddy's stature. According to Agnifilo, the staff, the jets, and the events were simply tools of a successful business person, not evidence of wrongdoing. When you're at the top of the entertainment world, your life is under a microscope, Agnifilo said in court. Every move you make is scrutinized, and every interaction is twisted to fit a narrative. And if that sounds convincing, it's because Agnifilo knows exactly how to frame his arguments. He's working to shift the focus away from the alleged victims and back onto the credibility of the accusations themselves. Take, for example, the surveillance footage that surfaced earlier this year, showing Diddy in a heated altercation with Cassie Ventura. The video, which many saw as damning evidence, has been spun by Agnifilo as an isolated incident that's being blown out of proportion. We're not here to judge a man for one mistake, he argued. We're here to examine whether these allegations hold up under the law.
You know, I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail.
But for all of Agnifil's confidence, the prosecution isn't backing down. They're armed with a mountain of evidence, including testimony from multiple individuals who claim to have witnessed or experienced misconduct firsthand. One of the most explosive pieces of evidence is a series of text messages allegedly sent by Diddy, which prosecutors say reveal a pattern of intimidation and control. These messages reportedly include threats, promises of financial ruin, and even instructions to staff about how to handle sensitive situations. If these texts are proven authentic, they could be a game changer in the courtroom.
As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than...
And then there's the testimony. Former employees, industry insiders, and even close friends of Diddy have reportedly come forward to share their accounts. Some describe a culture of fear and loyalty where speaking out wasn't just discouraged, it was dangerous. Others claim they were pressured into covering up incidents or facilitating questionable activities. These testimonies are painting a picture of a man who allegedly used his immense power to bend others to his will. And while Diddy's team is working tirelessly to discredit these witnesses, the sheer number of accounts makes it harder to dismiss them as mere fabrications. As the trial continues, one of the most contentious issues is the role of Cassie Ventura in this case. While her lawsuit may have been settled, her story remains central to the prosecution's narrative. Prosecutors are reportedly planning to call her as a key witness, using her allegations to establish a pattern of behavior that spans years. This puts Diddy's team in a difficult position. How do you counter the testimony of someone who not only knew him intimately but also has documented evidence to back up her claims?
Trying a criminal case in the modern times, a lot of evidence is on electronic devices, cell phone, tablets, computers, things of that nature. And the devices, especially if you have like external hard drives, 90-something terabytes of data on a single device makes me think some type of hard drive. That takes weeks to go through just for one device on its own.
Agnifil's approach has been to question Cassie's motives, suggesting that her decision to sue Diddy was driven by financial gain rather than a desire for justice. He's pointed to the settlement as proof that her claims were more about money than truth. But this tactic comes with risks. By attacking Cassie's credibility, Diddy's team runs the risk of appearing callous or dismissive of her allegations, a move that could backfire in the court of public opinion.
Because I think, we have seen many photos, videos of Sean Combs, aka Diddy, through the Associated Press, through Instagram. And so to see him kind of in person after being in jail for 3 weeks now was pretty interesting, to say the least. And I say that by being that you would expect him to feel a little defeated, a little gaunt, anything like that. But it wasn't that case. He appeared confident. He stood tall.
And public opinion matters more than ever in this case. With every new revelation, the media frenzy grows and the lines between fact, rumor, and speculation continue to blur. Social media has become a battlefield with hashtags and viral posts amplifying every detail. Some argue that Diddy is being unfairly tried in the court of public opinion, while others see this as a long overdue reckoning for a man who, they claim, has evaded accountability for years. But let's not forget, this isn't just about Diddy. The implications of this case go far beyond one man's fate. It's a wake-up call for an industry that has long been criticized for enabling toxic behavior and turning a blind eye to misconduct. If Diddy is found guilty, it could set a precedent that sends shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond, forcing other powerful figures to reckon with their past actions.
Well, you got to do your due diligence, and his team should have did the due diligence. And a lot of times, people do slip through the cracks. There's things that you don't see and don't find out until later on, but when people are making claims like the way people are making claims, you have to do your due diligence to make sure that if you're having that person on your platform, which is a huge platform, that you're putting out the proper and correct news.
And yet, there's still so much we don't know. The trial is far from over, and with every hearing, new details emerge that complicate the narrative. For example, recent reports suggest that federal agents found undisclosed items during a raid on one of Diddy's property's items that could potentially be used as evidence. What these items are and how they fit into the prosecution's case remains unclear, but their discovery has added yet another layer of intrigue to an already complex story. Meanwhile, Diddy himself has maintained his innocence, issuing statements through his legal team that deny any wrongdoing. These accusations are baseless. He said in a recent interview, "I've built my career on hard work and respect, and I will fight to clear my name." But as the evidence mounts and the trial drags on, clearing his name is proving to be an uphill battle.
So, Brianna, the judge has set a May 5th trial date for Sean Diddy Combs to face those charges of racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, and transportation of prostitution. Now, Diddy was in court today. He entered the courtroom wearing a jail-issued outfit, a khaki long-sleeve shirt, and pants. He was also shackled at the...
And let's not forget the human element in all of this. Beyond the headlines and legal jargon are real people, individuals whose lives have been forever changed by this case. For the accusers, this trial is a chance to finally speak their truth and seek justice. For Diddy, it's a fight for his legacy, his freedom, and everything he's worked for. And for the industry, it's a moment of reckoning that could reshape how power and accountability are viewed in the world of entertainment.
Those situations lend to maybe some issues with tampering. And I do feel like there are victims who are scared to come forward, including my client. She was very nervous about if he was going to get bail this week. And once I told her, and then come after people, including her and some of the other individuals, and she was very relieved when he did not receive.
So where does this leave us? As the trial continues, one thing is certain: the story of Sean Diddy Combs is far from over. With every new revelation, the stakes get higher, the drama intensifies, and the questions grow louder. Will Diddy's legal team manage to dismantle the government's case? Or will the weight of the evidence prove too much to overcome? And perhaps most importantly, what does this case say about the culture of power and privilege that allowed these allegations to remain hidden for so long? Share your opinions and theories in the comments below. Until next time, stay tuned and keep the conversation going.